front bench is back to talk about this. Laura D'Angelo, Jamie Ellerton, Sebastian Skamsky, and Sharon Carr. Laura, I'll start with you. It is pretty heated, and it appears to even make its way out of the public domain into private events. How big of a deal do you think that is?
I think that the ambassador is taking his perceived role in the negotiations a little too seriously. By all accounts, he is not in the room. He is not involved in these negotiations. And I do think he had a particular audience with those comments, and I'm not actually sure that it was Dave. I think the audience was an audience of one. I think it was President Trump. I think the ambassador really wants to be sure that the president thinks he's doing a good job. But to your point, things are getting very heated. And if that's what he thinks the president is going to react well to, we should be concerned about how high tensions are with the negotiations right now.
What does this series of events, Jamie, tell you?
That the ambassador can't control his emotions and can't control how he conducts himself. You would think the ambassador, the head of the diplomatic mission, would be a little more better briefed on how to conduct himself and protocol in going about his diplomacy. And I think you kind of heard Charles Sousa poke at the need to be sober-minded. And perhaps he got into the cellar of California wine or the Pappy Van Wiggles bourbon before he went to this thing, because the only place he can get it right now in Ottawa is probably at his own ambassador's residence, because the LCBO is not selling the stuff. So this is clearly just like a hothead. I think when you look at what the ambassador is doing, to Laura's point, it doesn't seem like he actually is a meaningful player in any of this, and he essentially got a patronage appointment thank you from the president to be here, and we all have to put up with him for as long as that lasts.
He does, though, he is supposed to represent, Sharon, the president's views. And we know that the president, I found it so interesting that he's at this dinner with Prime Minister Carney, and in advance of it, he posts on social media, and I'm paraphrasing, but because people are asking, I'm not here to see Canada type of thing. And at the same time, we see these visuals of them sitting across the table from each other. What should the federal government be saying to Canadians during this moment in time?
Oh my God, there's so much. For starters, everyone behave.
Distill it down.
Maybe behave. We just live in this bizarre time where this is supposed to be acceptable. I think what the federal government has to do is kind of come in and show a little bit of confidence in trying to temper all the emotions and all the feelings and all these conversations. It's just, to me, it's bizarre that this entire encounter even happened, and it comes off as very much like the ambassador is the child of the president trying to get his attention, so he's acting in a way so that daddy can see what he's doing. It just comes off as completely immature, and I think Prime Minister Carney, and to his credit, has tried to do that. He was very calm and very tempered when he spoke to the press in the last few days, even after the kerfuffle with the ad. So I think the federal government has to kind of let everyone know they're on it, they're doing what they need to do, and all the rest of this is noise. But none of us should be surprised that this is where we're at. We've got a man down in the U.S. who is president, who is reacting based on purely on his vibes and emotions, and his representative here in Canada is I'm going to jump on that bandwagon too and start dropping around swear words and saying whatever. And Canadians are probably sitting here saying, who raised you guys?
There are, though, despite all of that, Sebastian, there are some political consequences here. And we've seen that play out this week with the ad itself, right? Insofar as the Prime Minister's office has wanted to seem as far away as possible from it, won't answer direct questions about whether the Prime Minister and his Chief of Staff saw it, as Ontario's Premier has said on multiple occasions they did. Today, he even said, Doug Ford, that he was with them when they saw it. There appears to, they're largely on the same page when it comes to this stuff, but there are some cracks beginning to show between Ontario and the feds, between BC and the feds. Is it time for a First Ministers meeting? There hasn't been one since the summer, I believe.
Vashi, another meeting. I'm sure that will solve everything. Here's the deal.
Your favorite thing.
Truly. Doug Ford wants to present himself as Captain Canada. That position is currently filled, or should be filled, by the Prime Minister, although he's not doing any of that communicating. And his office is not even saying anything about the ad, not even confirming what the Premier himself has said, that it was effectively approved by the Prime Minister himself. So left in this void by the Prime Minister, Premiers Ford, Eby, others are making up their own things and leading their own campaigns, which I don't think anyone can say is awfully helpful to the national objective of our country. So it's time for the national leader, Prime Minister Carney, to step up, get his act together, and start voicing what it is that we're doing on this file.
What do you think about that, Laura?
I actually do think it's time for a First Minister's meeting. I think we're at the point now where we're seeing
You
cracks.
like meetings. I see.
I do
Steph
like
does
meetings.
not like me. Okay, got it. Yeah.
But we're seeing these cracks not just among some of the provinces and the federal government, but between the provinces themselves, right? Premiers are starting to really push hard for their own provinces because tensions are very high. Negotiations are very hard. This one is particularly so because we're not negotiating with a normal president. We're negotiating with Donald Trump. And so we're probably at the moment where it is time to again bring the team together and reestablish some ground rules.
Last word to you, Jamie.
Well, I don't know if we need another First Minister's meeting. I think if you're going to have one, you probably should know what it's going to agree to and what it's going to lead to. I really think a lot of this just stems from kind of the gulf that exists between Mark Carney talking and kind of being reassuring, and I think he generally still gets broad support of Canadians on those kinds of matters, and the ineffectiveness of actually following through on stuff with his government. Like, the 6 months in, results are hard to come by for what he's been able to do, and having a meeting for the sake of having a meeting, I think probably does more harm than good, unless there's something of substance to really follow through on.
Okay, got to leave it on that note. Next time we convene, it will be the day after the budget. We'll have tons to talk about. Appreciate you guys making time for the discussion. Our wonderful front bench, Sharon Carr, Laura D'Angelo, Sebastian Skamsky, and Jamie Ellerton.